Hi, shalom friends. Let me tell you a legend. There was once a very nice man who was very poor, and he said to his wife, perhaps I'll have more success if I travel a little bit out of the country. So she packed him up some bread. There wasn't much in the house, and she was thinking, what vegetable could she give her beloved husband who's going to go on a journey for at least a week by ship? She decided, believe it or not, to give him some onions. She figured it stays long and it adds a little bit of taste to dry bread. And he thanked his beloved wife and he goes on a ship. However, there's the vagaries of weather. And not a day passed when there was a strong wind and it blew the ship off course, and they had to dock in some type of an island. They all went off the ship, and there was an inhabited island, and the people were very friendly and offered them shelter. And he decided, you know what? Why do I have to go to my original destination? Let me stay here. Maybe I could find some extra job that's available. Maybe I could deliver things, whatever. So the ship leaves, and he's there, and he's walking around, and people are friendly. And he sits down, and he takes out his piece of bread, and he puts a piece of onion on it. And one fellow is walking by, sees him, and says, "What's that strange thing you have on your bread?" He says, "Strange thing? It's an onion." He says, "What's an onion?" He said, "Onion is a vegetable. It has a very sharp taste, but it really adds a lot, especially if you cook it." He said, "I've never seen it." "Yeah, you got to be kidding. You actually cooked this thing?" He said, "You know what? Yeah." He said, Can you show me how it's done?" It was strange to this person that he had never seen an onion, but the fellow comes in, he's making an omelet or something like that, and this man who just recently came to the island cuts up the onion, and they fry it, and this fellow, when he eats, he said, "Oh my gosh, this tastes like it came from paradise. I've never tasted anything so exquisite." You know what? We don't have something like this over here. We have to go to the king of the island and let him know that there's this wondrous vegetable. Clearly, it's like a miracle, the taste that it gives. The stranger let's call him Harry. The stranger Harry is like really surprised. You never tasted? No. Anyway, he's introduced to the monarch of the island, a very roly-poly type of a guy, and who enjoys food. And he says, this my citizen said that you brought a wondrous food. Can I give it to the royal kitchen? They'll make for me a lunch. Let me see how wondrous it is. And sure enough, they make for him a dish that has onions, and he's rapturous. He's like, I could die now. Such a delicious meal. And he then says to the fellow, "How much do you want for your vegetable?" He says, "What are you talking about? This is a very where I come from, this is very inexpensive. You're not going to give me," he said, "in where we are, this is exotic. Can you show us how to cultivate it?" So he decided, "We'll pay you for it." So sure enough, he plants the onion, and then he plants another onion, and within 6 weeks, he had introduced to the entire island this wonderful vegetable. And everyone claimed that the quality of the taste of food just went up. I mean, it's like a different cuisine. At the end of the 6 weeks, he says, "I must go home." And the king says, "You're not going to leave us empty-handed. What you brought us a gift of delicious food. The least that we could do is give you something, which for us is not that important, but it might be significant to you." And sure enough, they give him a sack filled with gold and silver. And he goes home, and he's a rich man, and everything is wonderful. Now he had a neighbor who was not especially very nice or kind or generous, and was rather surprised that his neighbor now is very rich. So he goes over to him and he says, "Where'd you get all of the money?" He said, "Well, I got it from a gift of this and this island." He said, "Yeah, but why did they give it to you?" So innocently he said, "It seems that they don't have any onions. They never, so I brought them onions and I got back gold." And he's thinking to himself, what a backward people. No onion? They probably never tasted garlic. So he fills up a sack with garlic and he sails to that island. Comes in, he wants to act very innocent and naive. He sits in the marketplace, takes out a piece of bread and something else, and he puts garlic, and it's a strong smell. Someone says, "What is that?" And he says, "Oh, it's a very, very wonderful spice. It's a vegetable called garlic." "What is that? Never saw that before." "You want to taste it?" And history repeats itself. The guy comes home, he puts garlic into his food, into the soup. It's rapturous, it's heavenly. He goes to the king. The king, who's always interested in new taste, says, "Can I taste it?" And when this happens, the king says to him, "Please, I beg of you, how much do you want to sell me this garlic?" And of course he's thinking gold and silver, but he wants to be he wants to sound innocent. He says, no, your majesty, where I come from, it doesn't cost that much. I would feel guilty." He said, "Well, if that's the case, please come and help us cultivate the vegetable." So sure enough, 6 weeks pass, everyone's into garlic, and he says to the king, hint, hint, he says, "I have to leave." And he says, "I don't want you to leave empty-handed. I want to give you a gift." He said, "No, it's not necessary. Please, we want to give you a gift." Of course, this man goes to sleep that night dreaming of gold and silver. The next day, they bring him a sack, and they say, "Do not open it until you get to," and he's anticipating it's heavy. There must be diamonds inside. And when he finally opens it up, what does he find? Onions. They paid him back with what they considered to be the most valuable commodity. So garlic for onions, onions for garlic, no, it doesn't sound like a very lucrative thing. So why am I telling you this story? It's just a legend, and I'll let you figure out how it applies. But one thing is quite obvious, and that is one man's onion is not another man's garlic. So sometimes we're jealous of people. We say, he has a car, he has 3 children, he has a beautiful wife, this guy has, and we also, what I would give to be like that person, to have what that person has. But you know something? That person is probably thinking exactly the same thing about you. I remember a story from one of the social philosophers about 2 people. One had rambunctious children, always running and jumping and tearing the house upside down. The other one had like two kids, very studious. And the guy who comes home to a mess and noise and he's thinking to himself, my neighbor, why, he has 2 such well-behaved children. I wish I had that. Little does he know that the fellow who walks in with his 2 well-behaved children is thinking, how come they never show any life? I wish I had those type of kids. And the answer is God gives garlic to those that need the garlic, onions to those that need the onions. So enjoy your food, enjoy garlic and onions, be happy with what you have, and may God bless each and every one of us with contentment and joy.